Chapter 40. 1.12.0 First small star, sealed, in the system space after the first world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Every time He Anjing finished his tasks in a certain world, that star will be sealed and will enter reset. The first small star started its reset, which is why when He Anjing returned to the system space it disappeared from his sight. A resetting star will have everything changed. Even if the former heavenly sons of that world were killed, a new person will be chosen to take the seat of that world's throne. Those who died and were punished during the time He Anjing was inside that star will never return. A new soul shall be born to take the position of heavenly child, as whether this new soul will follow the ending of his predecessor, will be decided by his actions. This phenomenon can only happen when the current heavenly sons or daughters of the said world died or were punished accordingly by the chosen outsider to clean the world. Underscore 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 underscore. Once their lifespans in the first small star had ended, separation was destined to happen between the couple, Xia Eng and Wang Tian. Xia Eng, this outsider, decided to leave the world first when he felt his husband's soul's lifespan ending. He couldn't bear to watch his beloved leave before him and he decided to leave the world first. But leaving first or last has no difference. After all, they will still separate after death. To Xia Eng, who fell in love for the first time, felt this moment as hell. He Anjing's point of view. These are his thoughts the moment he closed his eyes, the moment he returned to this system space after dying once from the first world. This is the hidden state he controlled within his mind. A state which even his system didn't notice at all. At that moment, I took my last breath and closed my eyes while within the embrace of my man in that small world. Only to open my eyes once again to be welcomed by that familiar-looking space. A space of endless darkness filled with galaxies and stars. Within that dark space is a small white land, which only has the size of a small room. Inside that space, unknown clouds combine together which can be used as a bed. This area used to be enough to satisfy He Anjing in this dimensional land. But after experiencing his first world journey's death, living his lifespan beside the person he loves with his everything, returning to this empty space alone made Anjing remember those days he spent with his lover. He can only close his eyes to control the raging emotions within him while trying to keep his indifferent face from breaking. Even his system didn't know that much difference with his host, as he only saw him close his eyes as if he wanted to take a short nap. Executioner remained silent and decided to just wait. Xia Ying's thoughts. He's gone. 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 It's so painful. So painful. So painful. I feel so empty, as if someone gouged out something within me, leaving a shallow hole of endless emptiness and loneliness. I miss you. Miss you. Mississippi you. So much. I can only ask myself, what should I do now? Now that you're gone, my love. My hubby. My heart feels so painful and so lonely. The feeling of heart breaking, loneliness and disappointment swallowed Anjing's heart. He really misses his husband so much. He Anjing could only squeeze his clothes above his heart, as he could not squeeze his own real aching heart. He Anjing could only seal his feelings and emotions behind his sly smile. Everything was done in silence, allowing darkness that corrode his whole being to spread. After a while, an evil smile full of madness appeared on his ethereal face, which his system didn't even notice. Anjing's thoughts: since you say you'll capture me, why didn't you come to me? Since you're not coming, I have to first look for you myself. My dearest husband. Underscore 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 male leads point of view in a galactic world server within the nether cosmos. Main system palace. A vast system space covered in countless worlds, star systems, galaxies were surrounding a man with closed eyes at the center. This man has a hair with the same color of darkness, and every strand of his hair seems to be connected to those countless worlds and dimensions hovering around him. He is wearing ancient robes. His features were captivating and showed dignity found in the few people who held the highest authority. The atmosphere around him felt dangerous, but his eyes were completely closed as if he were sleeping. As if the king of hell was sleeping. However, looking closely, this man is not asleep, but in deep slumber. A man who wears the same ancient robes as the man at the center entered the space, but everything about this man is different. He has a pleasant atmosphere around him. White ancient robes, a single lens glass on his left eye, long black hair and smooth kind-looking features. Walking through the darkness, leaving ripples at every step, this man moves forward to check on the man at the center of the netherworlds. Still asleep. You know that the nether system would not function without you, the Netherlord God. But you keep insisting on looking for the God of destruction. It's not like you don't know how many worlds that esteemed person has obliterated and how many times you have created new worlds to maintain the balance. Now even your own soul was fragmented. Nothing answered back to him but silence. Sigh, why did you have to fall in love with him anyway? That esteemed one is a direct bloodline of Mo. You are a fool, Xiao Yi. As usual, only silence gave him an answer. Sigh, I will check on you again next time. Sleep well. The man took his leave. Like his arrival, the only tracks he left are those small ripples on that ocean of darkness. Chapter 41. 3.0 Prologue. In the system space before the third world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. System space. After watching his husband take his last breath in the last world, He Anjing once again opened his eyes to that usual galaxy space he is used to. Taking a few deep breaths to take control of his surging emotions for his lover's death, the pain this time is not that unbearable. With only 3 dimming little stars hovering around him, Anjing stared at the endless horizons in dazedness. No one knows what he is thinking in his mind at this moment. It didn't take long for his usual mischievous smile to appear on his usual beautiful face and deep blue eyes. "Exe, give me the remaining world plots," said He Anjing. Urgency is present in his voice, but this time he has a gentle smile on his face. He is no longer lonely, as he knows that his love will once again be there in the star he will enter. Host, these are the remaining world plots. Second star. Business world plot. The lazy legitimate son and genius illegitimate son. The genius illegitimate son wished to become legitimate and control his own destiny by taking the lazy legitimate son's place and replace him. Fourth star. Modeling world plot. To be the next supermodel. The protagonist Shou and protagonist Gong wish to stand together at the peak and become both supermodels. Fifth star. Cooking world plot. Capture the heart through his stomach. A cooking competition to capture the heart of the protagonist Gong. Please choose one among these stars, host. After reading through the world plots, he made his choice, the second star, and I don't wish to learn a skill for this world. Please start the transfer, exe. I need to find him as soon as possible. Answered He Anjing. Host. This is your third world. Since you chose not to learn any skills, you must learn 2 skills in the next world. Host can redeem 5 things in the system mall after adding up the remaining 2 chances from the last world. Do you wish to enter the second star? He Anjing with a smirk on his face grabbed the glowing second star, go ahead for transfer, EXE. Replied He Anjing. Host, please prepare for transfer in 10, 9, 5, 2, 1 transfer complete. Chapter 42. 3.1 second small star, in the bar you are listening at Novel Full. Audio. He Anjing was once again pulled inside that small star, leaving the system space to complete his task in the world. The moment He Anjing opened his eyes, his scarlet-dyed irises were revealed. Third world, first location. Bar his scarlet eyes revealed evil light as he looked around, only to see that he was inside some kind of private bar surrounded by a group of men and women completely wasted upon drinking. In front of him there are countless varieties of wine and liquor. His nose was assaulted with the heavy scent of beer and wine mixed with the flowery scent of women that made him frown. Beside him a sexy lady wearing an almost exposed chest, red dress opened her eyes, about to seductively reach out her hands towards him. "Honey, you're awake," the girl said coquettishly with a seductive smile on her lips. Within his thoughts he spoke, "EXE, give me the memories and plot." Thought there's an undistinguished irritation in his mood. "Right away, host." World plot, Meng Anya. The legitimate son of President Meng, who owned one of the largest companies under the category of technology. Starlight Corporation. This is a IT company which focuses on creating security systems and software. President Meng loves his eldest son more than his illegitimate son, Meng Lon. Meng Lon is this world protagonist show. He was born when his mother schemed President Meng and gave birth to him, a year after Meng Anya's mother died. Meng Anya's mother is President Meng's beloved woman, if not because he was schemed and Meng Lon was hidden to him until he was born that he would not accept that woman's child to the Meng family. President Meng loves Meng Anya unconditionally, after all he is his child born between him and his beloved woman. But Meng Anya hated his father for accepting Meng Lon to his family. Meng Lon was born with above average IQ and was born business-oriented, which attracted President Meng's eyes. He wanted this illegitimate child on paper to help his beloved son in carrying the company he will pass on in the future, but his son thought differently. Meng Anya grew up hating his father and jealous of Meng Lan's intelligence. Because of that he grew up into an egoistic, hedonist which only plays around all night. He ignores almost everything and just plays around all day with his other bad friends. But these bad friends were all acquaintances of Meng Lon, whom he bribed to pull his older brother to hell while he tried to take over the company in secret. In the end Meng Anya was schemed to be caught up with a drug night party, got gang-banged and got caught in the end. His father learned his end, tried to save him from being jailed, only to be schemed by his illegitimate son and allied company Moonlight CEO, Chao Junzi. He lost his company to the two. Wanting to save his son in jail, he worked hard to try building another company to earn money for his child, only to be crushed by the two once again. Few years later he heard the news about his beloved son's death and killed himself to follow. After getting the memories of the body, He Anjing was rendered speechless for a moment. EXE, why did the father of Meng Anya didn't hate him for his foolishness? Is he stupid? Host, President Meng really loves Meng Anya, which is why despite all his foolishness this human father did his best until the very end to save Meng Anya. Unconditional family love. Are you saying this kind of thing exists here? At least in this world it does, host. Is there a problem? Nothing. What's the task then? Host's tasks are to give Meng Anya's father a good life and to get married. Why are the tasks getting longer? Normally there's only one task. This is because the host's soul is getting stronger and can be given more tasks. Please be informed that in this world there will not only be a protagonist Gong. There are also a few more male leads and a villain. Please complete all tasks, host. Hearing the extra information from his system, He Anjing could only give a playful smile. It seems this world will not be boring. After his conversation with his system, Meng Anya gave the woman a devilish but enchanting smile which made the latter's eyes flutter with hearts as she was painstakingly allured to such enchanting drop-dead sexy man. With his one eye closed, his right eye dyed in scarlet color glints with a dangerous feeling that attracted her. seeing his sexy collarbone from that unfasten his tie. A sweat drop lining his sharp jaw with his cheeks slightly blush from being drunk, He Anjing looked like a seductively incubus in her eyes. If not for the job given to her by that person she wouldn't mind falling for this kind of hot and juicy rich man. She wanted to reach out only to feel pain from her hair being grabbed and pulled over. She couldn't help but screamed when her hair was pulled without hesitation. At this moment Meng Anya's scarlet eyes were completely cold, glinting with disdain and disgust while looking down on this bitch that dared to touch him. He felt a swirling feeling of contempt and nauseous from the moment this woman tried to touch him. Meng Anya couldn't remember why, but the moment his own soul synchronized with his current body, all his preferences and hates his body remembered could be felt. Our MC has always hated skin-to-skin touch with strangers. As long as he doesn't get touch on his skin directly, Meng Anya would just react normally. This is also the reason why he lives alone before he met his husband in the past. He could only accept to live with someone as long it was his husband or as long his husband was with him. Kaya. EXE, are there useful people who follow Meng Anya? Answering host. There are few shadows guards your father left to protect you from shadows. These people are not even known to Meng Lan, even Meng Anya was not informed. There is also an aide hired by your father to look after you, but you always ask him to leave so he can only wait outside the door alone. Is that aide loyal? He is loyal to money. Host, this person is also one of the male leads that Meng Lan seduces to plot over you. He is called Lin Xia. This person is a few years older than you. A business accounting and administration graduate. When the lady screamed, a few more people inside the room woke up and looked at Meng Anya. They've tried scolding Meng Anya only for those words to not come out their mouth when they saw Anya's smiling scarlet eyes landed on them, giving them a very dangerous feeling. The feeling that the moment they opened their mouths to complain is the moment that the ice pick, Meng Anya, is playing with his left hand to fly towards them, taking their little lives. On his right hand is a heap of long hair owned by that slutty woman wearing a red dress, whose current state is disheveled while kneeling on the cold floor propped up by Meng Anya, who is grabbing her hair. Help. Help me, the woman whose hair is being grabbed pleads to the other people inside the room, but the other people only lowered their heads ignoring her. All of a sudden the smiling devil speaks. Lin Xia. I am willing to pay $1 million if you tell the bar owner that I will rent the floor for today. Tell them to ignore all other noises they will hear. Meng Anya shouted towards the door, for the aide standing on standby outside to hear his orders. Meng Anya waited for a while before he heard an answer from the outside, as you wish, young master. Please give Lin Xia 10 minutes. Replied Lin Xia, who said that before walking away to do his task. At the moment Meng Anya heard footsteps walking away, he couldn't help, but revealed a playful smile and chuckles for a bit. He threw the woman in front of him towards the others who were kneeling before him. With a filled wine glass on his right hand he spoke once more. Shadow guards, my dear father asked to protect me. Follow me orders and seclude the whole floor from other floors. Prevent outsiders from entering this floor. You can at least follow this one order from this legitimate young master, right? Said Meng Anya while drinking his red wine. No one gave him an answer, but they heard people moving, even the other customers being asked out to leave the floor were heard from outside the room. After 10 minutes his 2 orders were done beautifully. Lin Xia opened the door of Meng Anya's private room and bowed his head slightly in greetings. Young Master Anya, everything was done accordingly, said Lin Xia with a business smile on his face. Good, replied Meng Anya, who brought out his phone and sent $1 million as payment to Lin Xia's work. Lin Xia's phone rang upon receiving a notification that $1 million was sent to him by the bank from Meng Anya's account. Slightly astonished but smiled, I thank young Master Anya for a business done deal. The whole floor is yours, young Master Anya, for today, said Lin Xia. Call me Lord and get me a laptop. Replied Meng Anya with a playful smile. As you wish, my lord. replied Lin Xia, who smiled beautifully towards him. Meng Anya stood up, put one of his hands to his pocket as he walked elegantly towards the door, ignoring the kneeling group inside the room. The people inside the room thought they had escaped the little devil and was about to give out a sigh of relief only to hear that seductive suggestive voice of Meng Anya once again. This lord ordered you to crawl out of the room like dogs and kneel at the center for me. If you dare walk like a human, then this lord will break both of your legs. Bring out your phone from your pockets and I'll break both your arms. If you don't follow this lord's orders, then maybe I'll have someone break that thing connecting your shoulders to your head. I'll give you 10 minutes to think. He, said Meng Anya with a playful smile on his face as he walked elegantly out the door, leaving the trembling chickens for slaughter inside the room. Leaving in the room a group of male and female shivering while seated on the cold floor of the bar. Chapter 43. 3.2 Second Small Star, Little Devil. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Inside a luxurious bar. Meng Anya left their private room after saying a few threatening words with an ecstatic smile on his face. Those people left inside the said room were now all trembling. This is the first time they saw Meng Anya like this. The Meng Anya they knew is only a paper tiger. He is a hedonist and an arrogant person who doesn't seem to use his brain. The only thing good about him is his beautiful face, which he had inherited from his gorgeous mother. But the Meng Anya just now is different. Completely different. He was smiling. A playful, teasing smile. The fake arrogance of a useless young master from before had turned to something totally unlike before. The Meng Anya just now was elegant. The formerly air of haughtiness coming from a young arrogant man without knowing the real world had disappeared. Instead, the one before them stood straight, a noble temperament and an elegant aura. There's this feeling of danger hovering around him despite his slender figure. He looks delicate but at the same time hazardous. A mischievous tone came out from those red enchanting lips as if tempting them to fall. Those pairs of crimson orbs which used to see only hints of egotism were replaced with mirth and indifference. That seductive body lines hidden within those brand clothes took away their thoughts, then that slight sultry figure almost made them breathless. This kind of Meng Anya is someone they've never seen before. Well, until now. But despite that hallucinating figure, what he said to them lingered in their ears. They knew that a decision must be made. A decision of life and death. After all, they knew in their mind the reason why they've brought Meng Anya in this private, secluded bar. They all had an evil plan in their minds. Their plan is to drug Meng Anya and enjoy him for the night, but before they could start, it already ended. Without them knowing, Meng Anya learned about their evil plan. Now they need to satisfy Meng Anya, as the results will depend on whether they can leave this place alive. The devil only gave them 10 minutes to decide. The moment Meng Anya left the room, there's chaos in the place he left behind. The people inside the room had all been bombarding the lady who was thrown to the floor by Meng Anya just now. As she was supposed to take the lead to that evil plan. What the hell? You said that Meng Anya is a foolish young master who doesn't know the real world. Who is that devil just now then? Bitch. You know nothing, huh? This is easy money. Don't you see who that man is? That's Meng Anya. The devil Anya. Fuck. We're dead. We are so dead for sure. I don't want to die. Damn whore. This is all your fault. Because of you we might die tonight. Shit. Damn shit. No one told me Meng Anya is this kind of devil. After the passing of 10 minutes, Lin Xia by the door happily announced, 10 minutes is up. Please start crawling. You can only speak with the Lord after you crawl. First come, first serve, said Lin Xia with a meaningful smile on his handsome face. Understanding the meaning of Lin Xia's words. There are few who crawled faster to run out of the room. Some race outside as they crawl, but no one dares to walk like human beings towards Meng Anya in fear that the latter will really break their legs. They've noticed that the whole room was isolated. Isolating the center area of the room, are groups of men wearing unified black suits. They knew who those were. They are the Meng's shadow guards. Seeing that everything is really under Meng Anya's control, they can only crawl towards the center of the room and kneel in front of Meng Anya in line as they arrive first to the last. There's silence in the area except that all their eyes were on that enchanting figure at the bar's counter. This gorgeous young man is currently eating some shaved ice while playing some games on the laptop placed at the long table in front of him. Not far from the counter is the bartender serving the little devil all his needs with a professional smile on his face. From where they are kneeling, they can see Anya's sexy collarbone exposed because of his slightly unbuttoned shirt. His tight clothes emphasize his slender and hot figure. He is neither muscular nor thin, his body is perfectly proportional with his but a bit plump out, giving them an inviting feeling. That small tongue that peeks out every time he took a spoon of that cold dessert, seductively tempts them, especially when he slightly opened those cherry-colored pump red lips. The males in the area, aside from Lin Xia and the shadow guards who had seen the eldest young master since he was young, couldn't help but feel hot in his presence. The men who were kneeling at the center couldn't help but keep their legs together, trying to hide their hard-on, while the females were acting like monkeys in heat, panting while dazedly looking at the alluring incubus before them. This lord knows more or less the inside story. So, let's talk about other things. Like, how much are you guys going to give this lord to buy back your lives? By the way, this lord doesn't accept IOU, said Meng Anya with an evil smile on his gorgeous face. The moment they heard Meng Anya's words, the people at the center felt that an ice-cold water was poured over them. Even forgetting the fact that they were just enchanted by the incubus before them just now. They felt their blood run cold and once again felt that dreadful feeling of death looming over them, that they all started to shake in fear. As his seductive voice echoes in the whole silent floor, I'm saying this lord will forgive you if you give out enough compensation for playing with me. So, how much is your life to? Asked Meng Anya, who is smiling at them with an angelic smile. I will pay with my everything. Me too. I will give away everything I have too. Me as well. With a smile on his face, Lin Xia, calculate and collect everything. You can take 10% of the total earnings, said nonchalantly by Meng Anya, who resumed eating his second serving of cold dessert. He didn't even give those people kneeling before him a glance. You may have drinks while waiting for your turn. Go drink a cup, ordered Meng Anya, who returned to playing his laptop. His eyes never once wander on those things kneeling before him, as his thought couldn't help but wonder at that familiar gaze from a hidden figure. Half an hour later, Lin Xia finished the collection and they accumulated at least 15 million in total. Lin Xia, my lord. They've given up 15 million altogether. Only 15 million. Their lives seem so cheap then, replied casually by Meng Anya, who just finished eating his sherbet. After Lin Xia informed him of the completion, Lin Xia noticed the laptop is a live streaming account of an anonymous person. The broadcast had been started by his lord. Only his and Meng Anya's faces blurred the moment the camera was faced to them, even their voices were auto-changed as they spoke. When their names were called, a program ran to censor it. No one knows how this man is able to manipulate such precise programming which controls someone's privacy. Facing the camera towards the kneeling group, who were now panting and their face reddening. It is very obvious that they were drugged with something with the same effect of aphrodisiac, putting the group off the floor, totally aroused and out of their mind. Good, since you plan to have me gang bang the moment I don't wake up. Why don't you guys have a live sex drugged party with those drugs you've prepared for me? Enjoy the whole evening. As if Meng Anya's voice gave them a hypnotism effect, those people on the floor had acted like dogs in heat, trying to sleep with anyone in sight. Anya never intended to let them go. He knew that even if he killed them, that hidden man giving him a familiar piercing gaze will help him clean up after him. So he decided to let him do the rest. Meng Anya and Lin Xia left the place before they get pulled in over that mini live sex party before them. Of course, the bar was compensated properly by Meng Anya. This mini-drugged party was on live stream. Links were sent to computers of the parents of the people involved that night. Adding the fact that Meng Anya altered the drugs on their drinks with forgetfulness after effect, they would never be pointed at as suspect. He also programmed the store's surveillance recordings to be completely erased at a scheduled time. There will no longer be any solid proof which might point them as a suspect. Even if he got investigated after this event, he once asked his system to alter the proofs tonight to clean up his traces and let him create an alibi. No one will have the right to catch him. Well, that unless the people in that hidden VIP room get themselves involved in this messy scandal. Meng Anya ignored the hot gaze targeting him the whole night, and this gaze is from someone from that hidden room. Inside the hidden room, there are only two people sharing a drink. The moment Meng Anya ordered Lin Xia ordered the floor to be cleared, the two were long informed as one of them was the owner of the place. Meng Anya rented the place for 5 million and paid another 5 million as a shush fee, which the bar gratefully accepted. Actually, the owner of the bar only agreed when he saw Meng Anya's enchanting features on the first floor. With his gulping sounds as he watches the messy scene on the ground floor, "Boss, are you really letting that young man do this? Did he just," said a man with a chocolate-colored hair to the other man with him in the room. The man with light brunette hair asked while feeling chills when he witnesses how the whole scene progressed to that kind of ending. They watched Meng Anya first threaten the group with their lives, then asking money to compensate it. Though in the end the little devil has no thoughts of letting them go. Behind him, a dangerous man with obsidian hair and a pair of silver eyes which glints with cruelty and madness. This man doesn't just feel dangerous, he is also dangerously handsome. A strong physique and dark aura. His black hair was combed messy with his chiseled handsome face. His silver eyes narrowed and squinted, his thin lips slightly rose into a smile. He looked charmingly evil. He is this world's villain. The Lord of Underworld, Moe Juan. With his sharp and treacherous gaze, his silvery irises have never left Meng Anya's figure the moment he entered his line of sight. When that alluring voice resounds in the area, he felt the heat converging inside him. He wanted to capture that seductive incubus at that moment, but he felt that he couldn't be forceful as the little devil would escape his grasp. Thus, he can only watch him leave his territory. At least for now. Chapter 44. 3.3 Second Small Star, Outsiders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bar. First floor. 10 minutes before the rest come out of the private room where the others are. After Lin Xia prepared all things he needed by the bar's counter, Meng Anya sat in front of the camera wearing a bewildered emotion within those crimson orbs of his. Ever since he went to that private room, Meng Anya had this familiar feeling of someone's piercing gaze. This gaze gives him a feeling of extreme obsession. It didn't just make Meng Anya feel nostalgic but made him unconsciously yearn for it. At first he chose to ignore it, but in fact he only took a silent stand only for a moment to think through it. As if he thought of something, Meng Anya suddenly asked his system for help. Meng Anya said to his system, "Exe, can you show me the scene inside that hidden room?" "I can." "A moment, host, let me pull up the surveillance for it." "Here it is, host." Meng Anya with the help of his system was able to see the scene inside the hidden compartment. He can see two men resting inside, but his eyes only wander on one person. The man's obsidian hair was combed messy with his chiseled handsome face. His silver irises narrowed into a squint and his thin lips pulled horizontally without expression. He looked charmingly evil but extremely handsome with a hint of dangerous sense. Feeling that aura of death and blood, he always felt towards his husband's former bodies, Meng Anya knew this man was his. Of course he didn't need any proof, as long as he said this man is that person then no one could refute him. As he never saw wrong when seeing through at someone's identity. Which is why he decided to tease his man. After completing his revenge for the original, Meng Anya prepares to leave the place with his aide, Lin Xia, following him from behind. Even though he found his man, Meng Anya currently has no interaction with him, nor did the original do. He could only take his leave, ignoring his yearning for his love in his heart. The shadow guards that were tasked to protect him while hiding from the eyes of others had dispersed without his orders. Behind them is a chaos that is full of raging desire and lust, the mixing scent of alcohol, drug and sex, as well as humans who fell in state of feral beasts whose current mindset is only to mate. This chaotic scene was streamed live online, especially mentioned the parents and acquaintances of the youngsters opposite their screens. Ignoring the scene of hell he created himself behind him, Meng Anya took one look back at the position where the hidden room is. Staring straight at that supposed to be a wall when it was a one-sided mirror which allowed those on the opposite side to see the event outside the compartment. Leaving a fleeting mischievous smile at someone inside the room as if he was sure that someone from there was looking at him. Only then, he left the bar and entered the car called over by Lin Xia to bring them home. Within the hidden room, two figures saw Meng Anya looking their way and felt surprise in their hearts. The room was especially made with a special mirror which allows one to see what's outside but not what's inside. It's a one-way mirror. People inside the hidden room can see what's beyond the window on their side. But it's supposed to be impossible for someone outside the room to see through the secret room. Which is why when Meng Anya's gaze met theirs at that split moment, they knew that the little devil knew about the existence of the hidden compartment and that someone was looking at him. That playful smile at the end gave them chills climbing up on their backs. Those crimson orbs gave them a feeling of being exposed and it made them uncomfortable. Gulp. The man who has chocolate hair couldn't help but swallow his saliva when he saw Meng Anya peering at their room and giving them a playful smirk. He had bewildering thoughts at how that little devil knew about their secret room. He then twists his neck to look at the other man's figure, wanting to see his expression. Boss, did he knew? Asked the brown-haired man to the other man inside the room. This man with hazelnut-dyed hair is none other than Yi Baiyu, the second male lead of the world. He is also the right-hand man of the underworld's lord. Yi Baiyu asked, but heard no answer. Moving his head to look at his big boss. Behind him, a dangerous man with obsidian hair and a pair of silver eyes which glints with cruelty and madness. This man doesn't just feel dangerous, he is also perilous in true sense. His strong physique gave him the figure of strength, while his grim expression made others feel he had killed before. There is an air of aloofness and indifference within those sharp-looking eyes. As if nothing alive is worthy to enter his line of sight. He is the Lord of Underworld, Moe Juan. Someone who rules the dark side of the society. But this man's sharp and treacherous gaze slightly softens as his silvery irises landed on Meng Anya's figure the moment he entered his line of sight. Only when Meng Anya left the premise of the store did his gaze resume to its original emotionless eyes. As if those who have seen his gaze mellowed is nothing but a hallucination, others thought they've suffered too. In his silence no one but him knew what he really felt. In his heart, Moe Juan wanted to capture that seductive incubus at that moment, but he felt that he couldn't be so forceful as the little devil would escape his grasp. So for now he could only let his little prey to leave, as he still needs to prepare the bait that will allow him to capture that playful and smart little imp. Wanting to prepare things in accordance with his plans, Moe Juan wanted to take his leave. Baiyu, clean those things up. And get me everything about that man, he ordered before taking his leave. Saluted unconsciously by instinct. Yes, boss, replied Yi Baiyu while noticing his big boss uplifted crotch before he left. He was shocked out of his mind but unable to show his real reaction on his face. While in his mind. Damn. Did the boss fall for that little incubus? What a fucking dangerous pairing. Meanwhile, inside the black sedan which came to drive them home, young Master Meng had his eyes looking out the window's car. His lips were upturned into a smile filled with ecstasy while rubbing his chest unconsciously. This habit whenever his heartbeat had gone beyond normal. This is usually only an event that happens whenever his eyes and his man's eyes meet at the first moment. As if sparks were exchanged between them, a certain feeling of satisfaction and yearning ascended within their hearts. Few moments ago, when he asked his system's help to see the owner of that heated gaze falling on him, he noticed a perfectly sculpted charmingly evil man. His aura felt dangerous and the eyes directed at him were filled with desire and possessiveness. That man wanted to possess him. Put him in a cage and hide him from everyone's eyes except his. This extreme obsession. That man gave him a very familiar feeling. It was something he knows the best and it was something he wanted more than anything. That man must be his beloved. He couldn't stop his heart from beating so fast as he felt his presence. Meng Anya was extremely happy to see him this fast. "Exe, who was that man in that hidden room?" asked Meng Anya to his system. "He is this world's villain. The Lord of Underworld and owner of that bar, Moe Juan. Host, that man has your husband's soul. He must have followed you here as well but Exe couldn't explain how he is able to do that. Moreover, that man beside him has a familiar soul too. The same as this side of yours as well. Their souls are something Exe saw before." What do you mean?" "This side of yours, named Lin Xia, has the same soul as your former subordinate He Yu and that man who serves the body of your husband has the same soul of your former friend, Yu Wuya from the last world. But they are not considered as outsiders of this world. Like Host, the world's heavenly laws accept them as the original, but also unlike the Host who is able to OOC, their movements were all according to the original script of the world. That is before the Host took over the original's vessel and met them. As for how they can be here, Exe has some conjectures, but I need to ask first if I can tell Host. If the Host wishes to know then I must leave for a while to ask my superior. But Hosts have nothing to worry even if Exe is not here. Host can still access the system mall." The corner of Meng Anya's lips slightly upturned when he heard his system's explanation which instantly disappeared in a second. Anya didn't say a word of contradiction the whole time. "Thought I have my own guesses, but I want the whole story. Go ahead and ask your superior. How long will you be away, Exe?" "Exe doesn't know but I will try my best to return as soon as possible, Host." "Go ahead." After his system left to check things regarding those other outsider souls like his, Anya blinked his eyes revealing a pair of lazy scarlet irises. Slightly yawning as if he was very tired. His rosy cheeks return to normal as he sobers from the intoxication caused by wine. Even when he felt an observing gaze from the smiling man in front of him, Meng Anya just ignored this gaze as it was something the owner didn't even dare to hide. Slowly closing his eyes once again, "What is the name of the owner of that bar?" Meng Anya asked the man before him. With a business smile on his face, he said that his name is Yi Baiyu, my lord. Replied Lin Xia to his young master's question. Upon hearing his aide's answer, "Is it a man with hazelnut hair and a silly expression?" asked Anya casually, with a slight surprise on face. Lin Xia answered, "You knew the gentleman, my lord." A smirk appeared by the corner of his lips. You must have not met the real one then. The one you've met must be quite a silly man as well," said Meng Anya. When heard what his young master just said, the amiable smile on his face disappeared. "That man isn't the owner?" asked Lin Xia. "He is not. If I'm not wrong that bar should under the name of the Underworld's lord. I don't remember his name being called Yi Baiyu. Did his silly antics blur your sight?" "Heh," replied Meng Anya while the expression on the man before him turned dark as he couldn't believe that someone was able to lie in his presence. Lin Xia's face turned cold at the thought that a silly man like that is able to make him feel that he is worthy of someone being considered as boss. Someone whose authority is above. Thinking of this made Lin Xia unhappy. "Don't worry, you'll meet him soon enough. As his master will most likely look for me in these following days," said Meng Anya. As if understanding that hiding his real personality in front of the young man is useless, Lin Xia removed all Fa.Ade as his aide from before. Instead decided to treat this languid-looking beautiful man as someone who had hidden his true face to others while treating others as fools in his mind. "My lord, how much can this Xia tell your father about what happened today?" asked Lin Xia. "Meng Anya, hm. You may tell him everything. My dad might get angry, but if you tell him that you were only following my orders then he will understand. Don't worry, I'm the one who will get scolded. He is quite overprotective because I'm his only remaining family he has. No matter how blind this original Meng Anya is, according to his memories, that old man is still quite a character." "What about the second young master?" asked Lin Xia. At this moment Meng Anya moved his gaze from the car window and looked at Lin Xia with a devilish smile on his face. "You shouldn't care much about the little one. He can play as much as he wants since his days are numbered. Xia, wake me up when he gets back home," Meng Xia said before taking his nap. "As you wish, my lord," Lin Xia replied with a small smile, but this smile is different from before. It was one that came from his true self, unlike his usual fake business smile. Underscore 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 Meng Mansion. Meanwhile, one of the Shadow Guard leaders received a report from one of his comrades ahead of time to inform his master, the head of Meng clan, Meng Huang, about what happened. Upon hearing the details of his subordinate's report, especially about his beloved son almost getting gangbanged under the orders of that illegitimate son of unknown origins, this overprotective old man almost blew up in anger. The only reason that Meng Huang accepted Meng Lan to his clan is because of his DNA being similar to his, but his bloodline did not directly come from him, though without doubt that Meng Lan is a Meng. This is the only reason why he allowed Meng Lan to live in his mansion. Allowing others to think of him as his illegitimate son while under the eyes of the laws, Meng Lan is nothing more than an adopted son for his blood being a Meng. Meng Huang showed his anger when he was informed of the news. To him what is the most important has never been his company, not even himself, but only his little son, Meng Anya. Anyone who dares to harm his darling son doesn't need to exist. Are you saying that your young master only made those trashes fuck themselves and didn't took their lives for trying to harm him? Meng Huang said. Yes, master. The young master didn't even ask any question, as if he already knew who is behind all that. In his anger Meng Huang spoke, "That damn bastard thing, Meng Lan, you dared to harm my baby boy. Watch this old man teach you a lesson." The young master had also said that master must leave Meng Lan to him and master should focus on watching his back. Upon knowing the meaning behind that message from his son, Meng Huang couldn't help but frown. Did my boy know everything happening in the company even when he is not entering it? I've guessed Lin Xia must have told him everything. That can only mean that Lin Xia decided to follow my boy now. This is not bad. For that money grubber to choose my boy instead of this old man means that my boy is never an ordinary person even when hiding. Well, Aner's hidden identity is already beyond others, it is almost impossible for others to ignore him, much less now that he is letting others see through his real personality. Haha, said Meng Huang with a joyous voice. Without thinking as much of his master's weirdness, this subordinate passed his phone to his master with a video that his comrade took just a few hours ago. About that, master should watch this video and you'll understand right away. Receiving the phone, hm. What is this? Asked this silly doting dad named Meng Huang. Meng Huang, who watched the video for at least 3 times before his mind registered what he just watched, now had a dark expression on his face. Are you telling me this seductive little incubus is my little boy? Meng Huang asked with a gloomy expression on his face as his sharp eyes landed on his subordinate. Upon seeing his master's dark face, the Shadow Guard leader could only nod his face as if he was pecking on something. Seeing his people nodded like they had seen a ghost, Meng Huang can only wrinkle his brows in worry. I've never expected that my dear wife would give birth to such heavenly beautiful enchanting boy. This is not good. There will be more stalkers and bad guys who would want to steal my baby boy from me. This can't happen. Go. Go contact those people from the underworld. Tell them I need their strongest man to protect my darling boy. Meng Huang said. Master, how about the emperor? Asking about the business emperor, Chao Junzi's deal. Who the hell cares about the scoundrel? It's not like he could take over the company with one move, even with that bastard son helping him. Did he think the elders in that company blind? They were just too lazy to make the first move. Moreover, my darling son takes the top priority. Go get me the strongest man to be my child's 24/7 bodyguard. Replied Meng Huang. Why? Yes, right away, the shadow guard replied before following his new task. Chapter 45. 3.4 second small star, lingering feelings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Starlight Company COO, Chief Operations Officers, S Office. Meng Lan's office within the company. Staying in the company under the pretense of overtime, this man with kind features, dark brunette and a pair of blue eyes behind a pair of spectacles, was seated within the office and just finished talking on the phone. After hearing the bad news about his scheming failed, the plan was for his elder brother to get his innocence destroyed with those hired second-generation young masters, and young Miss ended up in a live-stream drug scandal instead. To avoid the plan being traced back at him, he ordered his men to silence that group of useless things and wanted to call that Lord of Underworld, asking for another favor only for his call to be declined boldly. Throwing his phone on the table with an ugly expression on his face, Why is he ignoring my calls? Said Meng Lan in anger. Isn't he supposed to be interested in me? Why is Yi Baiyu ignoring me now? This is not like what it is before. It seems Yi Baiyu used his boss title as Underworld's Lord to pursue this protagonist show, in the original story. Thought because of what happened in that bar, and when his boss learned it was him to allow that group of pests to reserve a special private room to do a bad deed against his boss's little beloved devil, that he got punished for it. Now Yi Baiyu has no time to waste on Meng Lan, as his life will be in danger if he doesn't clean up the mess left by the Meng brothers. The eldest caused a drugged sex party in the bar owned by his boss, while the youngest ordered someone to silence that group of youngsters, intending to push the blame on the former. Both pairs of siblings seem to be abnormal in their ways. Yi Baiyu's task is to prevent any harm falling towards the eldest, which his own demon boss seems to have fallen with. All works fell on him like always. What he didn't know is that because he lied to someone about being the Underworld Lord, that his future will be more chaotic when they've met again. A tragic event which will be caused by his boss, and another from a man whom he shouldn't have lied to. Meng Lan continues to throw tantrums without him knowing that his opened laptop placed on his table had his current state recorded by his own laptop's camera. Recording and streaming his current situation live to Meng Anya's tablet. In that half an hour of waiting in the bar, Meng Anya, using the laptop he borrowed, created a program virus which invaded the personal gadgets of Meng Lan, Meng Huang, Chao Junzi, Yi Baiyu and Mo Yijuan. All the named characters of this world. Without only a few minutes, Meng Anya was able to hack into their personal accounts and kept them under surveillance of his program virus. Giving the letter a live broadcast of these people's daily life. Hacking and programming are skills that He Anjing have from his original world. His skills when it comes to hacking and programming are heavenly defying, and was an infamous figure in the virtual world of his original world. So even without his system, in modern worlds, he is invincible. If not for him being lazy and having a cheat system, he would never waste his time playing around with the simulated world, because that place is so boring for him, as he can only be considered God in that realm. At the moment everything was recorded, and nothing was watched yet, as this little devil is currently taking his nap. Evening had long descended when Meng Anya arrived at the Meng Palace. As he ordered upon their arrival, Lin Xia woke him up from his sleep. Waiting outside the car which parked in front of the mansion's entrance, "My lord, we are here," said Lin Xia, who has a coat prepared for his young master. Lazily opening his eyes when he heard Lin Xia waking him up from his slumber, Meng Anya covered up his yawn before going out of the car. As soon as he got out of the car, Lin Xia gently draped a black coat over his shoulders in fear that his young master would feel cold. "We're home, huh? Is my dad and Meng Lan home?" asked Meng Anya while looking at the brightened indoors of the huge mansion before him. "I was told that only your father is home," replied Lin Xia. The mansion had an old ancient Chinese design mixed with slight modern architecture. It has a huge courtyard with a rose garden and a pond. When Meng Anya saw it, his eyes stopped but wandered in the garden of full-bloom red roses. The flowers were huge and well cared. Adding up the yellowish incandescent lights of the light post scattered with the garden gave the place of warm feelings. Unconsciously his body moves forwards intending to walk towards the huge rose garden before him. His long, slender legs walk towards it to have a closer look. From the latter worlds he conquered, Meng Anya used to love taking his walk within flower gardens. Such huge and numerous full-bloom roses caught his attention. The reason for this is his husband. Because of the first world where his husband likes to give him flowers that he ended liking it instead. Among the flowers, he loves roses the most, especially black ones. He used to spend his time walking around the floral garden with his husband in the first world. "My lord." Lin Xia called but still followed after his young master to the rose garden. This rose garden is the one memento the mother left for the original Meng Anya, but the original is a fake hedonist, born genius and a rational type young master that has zero interest in flowers. Within the mansion the most expensive and precious thing that the Meng clan owned is this huge garden of Juliet roses. Juliet roses are the most expensive type of rose in the world, especially for fully cultivated ones like this. When Meng Anya's eye laid on it, he instantly knew the importance and meaning of this rose garden. Red Juliet roses, it means undeniable and passionate love, but at the same time it has the meaning of heartfelt regret and sorrow. Seeing that the former owner of the garden had died early before Meng Anya completely imprinted her existence in his life, the meaning of this rose garden must be the latter. Meng Anya's mother died when he was young. Within the rose garden only Meng Anya entered, as the others were forbidden to enter the place. Lin Xia and the servants who came to welcome them, stood by the entrance looking over their young lord in the distance. In the mansion the only people who can enter the garden can be counted by hand. The master of the house, Meng Huang, his beloved son, Meng Anya, and lastly few loyal and certified gardeners who maintain the garden. Even Meng Lan is not allowed to enter this precious place. After all, this garden is the only place that has the memories of the deceased wife of Meng Huang. For the first time in his life, Meng Anya seems to feel lingering emotions of the original owner of his body. The original Meng Anya. He walks around the garden with tender steps, afraid of destroying even a single branch of the roses. Meng Anya doesn't even dare to touch even a single flower as he walks towards the center of the garden. At the middle of the garden a pure white jade tombstone laid on the ground, surrounded with the largest bunch of crimson roses. On the tombstone crave the following words: "Here rests the most beloved wife and the best mother of all. The most beautiful Rose Queen. Xue Meiyue." After reading the contents on the tombstone, the remaining emotions of original Meng Anya took over He Anjing's current body. He felt immense pain gripping his heart as he felt endless regret and remorse. The moment he saw the name Xue Meiyue, Meng Anya's tears can only fall unconditionally without his permission. Looking slightly bewildered, Meng Anya reached out to touch his face only to feel warm tears strolling down his cheeks. These are not his tears. These are the original Meng Anya's tears of regret. This, HMIC. These are, that child's, tears. "I miss you, Mom." Meng Anya muttered in silence while whispering the lingering words the original Meng Anya wasn't able to say when he was still alive. His eyes remain on that white tombstone under his feet. Without him knowing, behind him his father Meng Huang together with a man with imposing aura arrived. Meng Anya's arrival was informed right away by the servants waiting for his arrival. When the master of the house was informed that the young master had gone to the rose garden, Meng Huang couldn't believe what he heard. This old man immediately ran off to where his son is, even forgetting to tell the man who followed him over that he couldn't enter the garden. Meng Huang knows his darling son's hate of flowery scent and always avoids this garden his mother left for him. So, when he saw his son standing in front of his wife's tombstone surrounded by roses, he couldn't believe what he saw and stood stiffly not far from his son. Quietly watching his son at a certain distance, but he is still able to hear his words. Not wanting to destroy the picturesque scene before them, Meng Huang even stops Lin Xia from informing Meng Anya of his arrival. Even forgetting the man who followed him over and stood beside him. He didn't even notice this man's change of expression the moment he saw his son. They stare at Meng Anya as he spoke in air as if his mother were in front of him listening. They can only keep silent when they see him crying. "Mom, watch me there as I will destroy all those rotten things that want to harm us. I will protect Dad for you. So, wait for us to come over, okay?" said Meng Anya as he speaks the words of regret the original Meng Anya left in his heart. This was his task and his promise to the original who gave his body away from him to take over. This in exchange of his wishes and regrets being fulfilled. Chapter 46. 3.5 Second Small Star, My Personal Bodyguard. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Deep within the lingering thoughts of the original owner of the body, Meng Anya let the remaining feelings of the original to fade by itself. He closed his eyes as he let the leftover emotions the original left in his body slowly left him. Ignoring his surroundings, letting the lasting presence of the original's thoughts, he took his silence. With traces of tears trailing down on his rosy face, Anya opened his phoenix-shaped eyes, revealing a pair of orbs whose color seems to be made dyed under the color of blood. The others continue to stare at him in silence as they watch that lovely little fairy suddenly raise up his head proudly. Looking at the distant horizon of darkness they were under to. His phoenix-shaped eyes, scarlet irises glinting with playfulness and determination, those puffy cherry lips slightly upturned into an arrogant but enchanting smile. Meng Anya's current features were so enchanting, adding up the alluring effect of his entrancing smile. The people around him couldn't help but think that there's a tempting little devil before them. Falling in a state of fascination and daze. Everyone in the area could only blush in embarrassment and awe, lowering their heads timidly while still secretly peeking at that heavenly figure not too far from them. Only one man among them showed a much more apparent reaction as he gave that temptress a sharp, obsessive stare as if wanting to possess him. Taking back the control of his body, Meng Anya felt a familiar glare falling onto him. He couldn't help but look for the source of such heated stares. That little devil, as if he felt them staring at him, looking back only for his eyes to wander directly at that unfamiliar figure with that recognizable imposing aura. When he saw those pairs of silver eyes full of obsession and passionate love, Meng Anya can only give the latter a sweeter smile, making the other person's heart skip a beat in the instance their eyes met for the second time. At that moment Mo Juan thought that his heart was stolen before him, and he couldn't help but feel happiness and desire when he saw that gorgeous, exquisite little devil before him. He can only keep staring at him, unable to say anything like everyone else. With a conceited alluring smile on his face, "I'm home, Dad," said Meng Anya, who moved his gaze to his father from his man. Meng Huang laughed joyously when he heard his son's rare greeting and walked towards his boy, giving him a big hug. "Unwelcome home, my darling son," said Daddy Meng, not even noticing the glaring figure behind him as if wanted to pin a hole on his back. Back to the mansion. After dinner, the father and son duo, the guests and Lin Xia, all gathered in the living room. They had their meal without even waiting for the second young master to get home. This is a normal event. Usually people of this house are too busy to even eat each meal together. The relationship between the youngsters can never be called good, and the original used to be distant even towards his own father. The people of the mansion were used to this and didn't react much about it. During the whole time Mo Juan's eyes were targeting Meng Anya's figure, who was intentionally avoiding his gaze. Meng Anya focuses his gaze on his doting father, who is trying to spoil him much more than he thought. This person is indeed an interesting character. He reminds him of someone, but he couldn't remember whom it was. As he expected, his memories of this original world are sealed for a reason. Thinking about it for a moment, Meng Anya feels that it is almost impossible for someone like him to agree to any condition which pertains to his well-being. This is in accordance to his aloof personality and bloodline. There are only a few people who could convince him to lower his guard, and most of them are from his family. Aside from his family only he could make such a decision of sealing his memories, but currently he doesn't have enough information as for why he should seal his memories and what is the reason for it. For now he decided to not think about it as it will be more interesting that way. As soon as dinner ended, Lin Xia dragged away Yi Baiyu as he recognized him, giving the excuse to give them privacy. The two were not close, but they've met before. Tallying the fact that Yi Baiyu had pretended to be the Lord of Underworld in front of Lin Xia, that the latter had wanted to clean him up for it. Yi Baiyu let himself be pulled away as his boss seems to want to speak with his crush privately. As a good-natured subordinate, it is his duty to give his boss as much privacy, even sacrificing himself in process. Currently only the father and son, as well as Mo Juan, remain in the living room. Son, let me introduce you to this man. He is called Mo Juan. Mo Juan is with the military. Dad hired him to become your personal bodyguard. Sir Mo, this is my son, Meng Anya, said Meng Huang. Only when his dad properly introduced his man that he looked at the latter. Dad, I didn't know you had that much money to be able to hire him, replied Meng Anya with a humorous smile on his face. When they heard Meng Anya's words, the two had different reactions. His doting dad only showed a proud expression, not really understanding the hidden meaning of his son's words, and though he was praising him. On the other hand, Mo Juan showed a slight stunned expression as he looked at Meng Anya with observing eyes. This is because he realized that the young master knew his real identity that even President Meng didn't know. His sharp eyebrows rise in surprise, though his face remains emotionless. Only when his eyes lands on Meng Anya that his gaze slightly softens. Proudly replied by this doting dad who is dense to the point of being blind. Of course. Dad is the best. But son, you decide if you wanted to hire him as yours, said Meng Huang, while his son just gave him a nod and a helpless smile. While Mo Juan gave him a small rare slight smile. Not bad, said Mo Juan while gently staring at his figure with a pampering gaze. Returned his smile, you look nice yourself. Before I decided to hire you, I had a few questions. Please answer truthfully, said Meng Anya as he saw the man nodding his head. Are you going to be with me the whole time, asked Meng Anya. Yes. Mo Juan replied. Anywhere I go? Yes. What if I get hungry? Prepare food. If I fell asleep? Let you sleep. If someone tried to harm me? I'll protect you. By my side 24/7. Yes. Are you mine, my guard? Yes, I'm yours. Listening to the weird conversation, Meng Huang could only show a bewildered expression on his face, while Meng Anya's smile widened when he heard Mo Juan's last answer. He was satisfied that his man is still the same as before. Pampering endlessly and caring for him beyond normal means. Okay. You're hired. Meng Anya said, who gave Mo Juan a zealous smile before looking at his thick-skinned father. Dad, I want him. He will stay in my room and stay by my side all the time, no matter where I am, he will be there. I will go to the company tomorrow. Good night, Dad, said Meng Anya, who held his man's hand and pulled him away. He pulled the man, who remained silent, and let himself get pulled effortlessly by Anya to the third floor of the mansion, where the whole floor is what he considers as his own quarters. The mansion has 4 floors. The topmost floor is his father's quarters. The 3rd floor is his. Meng Lan owns the 2nd floor, while the 1st floor is where the servants live. This also represents the authority of masters within the house. Chapter 47. 3.6 second small star, world error. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Meng Anya spoke without pause, not allowing his father to react before leaving the living room while dragging Mo Juan to his floor. Holding his hands like it's natural for them to hold hands, leaving his father stunned in place alone with the butler and servants. He even sent a message to his aide, Lin Xia, to prepare things for tomorrow while he can take his leave, with an extra order of sending the man with him away. He also got Mo Yijuan's permission to leave his right-hand man to Meng Anya's aide's care while letting the latter drag him into his room. Third floor Meng Anya's room. As the door of Meng Anya's room closed behind them, the young master let go of his supposed bodyguard's hand and walked towards his double king-sized, black-covered bed. He sat on the bed and looked at his newly hired bodyguard with a languid gaze, leaving Mo Yijuan standing in front of the door, who was waiting for his baby's orders. Silence ascends inside the room as none of the two first spoken. Mo Yijuan's eyes were on the enchantress sitting on the huge bed, not letting his gaze move at all, as if this figure would disappear as much as he just blinked. When those seductive scarlet eyes fall on him, Mo Yijuan's heart feels itchy without a reason nor desire, but an uncontrollable sweet feeling assaults his soul. He only knew that this person is his and can only be his alone. Scarlet eyes filled with mirth. Why would the Lord of Underworld want to become this Lord's bodyguard? Is the compensation I left in the bar not enough? Or do you wish to compensate this Lord instead for allowing you to see that even your dear right-hand man could fall to someone's allure and take your name to do some things he's not supposed to be? Asked Meng Anya, who started taunting his man. Hearing his baby's questions, Mo Yijuan felt that he really needed to give him compensation. After all, it was indeed his fault that someone like Meng Lan is able to approach this silly confidant, Yi Baiyu, giving him opportunities to seduce the idiot. He walked towards Meng Anya and stood before him, lowering his head and landing a chaste kiss on Anya's forehead before kneeling on one knee as he held his hands to his palms. Like a knight giving his devotion to his lord, he kisses Meng Anya's hand reverently. Mo Yijuan looked up to see his baby's calm face, but the slight reddening of his ears couldn't be hidden from his sharp eyes at all. I'll scold Baiyu and tell him to stay away from that thing. As for why I became your bodyguard, it was because your father issued a task to the underworld to give him the strongest person to protect you, his treasured son. I am the strongest in the underworld and there is no way I'll allow someone else to protect my baby. The compensation for the bar, it was enough, but if you want it I'll give it to you. As for the compensation for your last question, it's me. This compensation is a bounded thing and the duration is lifetime. Do you want it? Asked the underworld lord with a small smile appearing upon those cold appearances of his. Meng Anya didn't answer, but Mo Yijuan can see his lips twitch as if he wanted to smile. Meng Anya moves his face to not see his husband's alluring appearance while controlling his drool from falling. Entertained, Mo Yijuan stood up and reached out his hand, pinched his baby's jaws, moving his head and making a face at him, looking straight only at his figure. He then saw Meng Anya's scarlet orbs looking at him fearlessly with a taunting smile at the corner of those cerise lips. Relying on his long arms, he scooped up Meng Anya, directly grabbing that firm butt and flexible, sexy waist of his. Lifting him up to his arms, resolutely supporting him by his bottom, while the hand he used to pinch the latter's jaws moved to Meng Anya's neck to his nape, moving up to his head. Mo Yijuan lowered his head to capture those tempting cherry lips and kissed Meng Anya without hesitation nor permission. Familiar movements, familiar obsession, and even that unreasonable manner was familiar. There was laughter in Meng Anya's eyes that slowly changed to yearning intoxication. To tease his man, he even deliberately tried to push Mo Yijuan away and tightly pressed his lips together, not allowing the latter to pry his mouth open. He doesn't intend to spoil his man, but letting him get what he wanted so easily. Pretending to struggle, Meng Anya slight fidgets in Mo Yijuan's embrace. Sensing his baby's contrasting action, darkens his silvery eyes, which now glints with dangerous touch. He moves the hand from the back of his head to his neck to pinch his baby's jaws, forcing him to open his mouth while the ambiguous grinding of their lips becomes stronger. Obviously obliging the latter to let him in. Perceiving that he had teased his man enough, Meng Anya slightly exposed an opening and slightly parted his lips, which Mo Yijuan took as an opportunity to further deepen their kiss. At the touch of their tongues and blending their fluids, a familiar feeling of possessiveness engulfs Meng Anya's soul. It was the greediness of this person that captured his soul. Meng Anya, as he fell in trance of pleasure, could no longer stop his longing and love for this person. He clamped his legs on Mo Yijuan's waist, which startled the latter, and felt his baby reach out his hands to pull over his head to intensify their kiss. It is as if they've obtained all feelings of joy and satisfaction the world had to offer. The two clung to each other, even letting themselves fall back to the bed, constantly changing the angle to extend their kiss. A quarter of an hour had passed before they parted, a sliver line stretched between their lips. Staring at each other's eyes filled with passionate love and endless desire, Mo Yijuan gently kissed the misty eyes of his beloved, tightening his hug around his slender waist. Words of love just came out of his mouth as if it came from his very soul. "I love you," said Mo Yijuan, with his voice affectionately expressing his avid love. Hearing such sweet words from this usually cruel and cold man, Meng Anya gave him a fleeting kiss as he stared at him the same way. With a sweet smile on his lips, "I've always known." "I love you too," replied Meng Anya. "How long do you wish to hire me as your bodyguard?" asked Mo Yijuan as he moved his head to bury his face on the crooks of his baby's neck, intaking that familiar sweet minty scent of his lover. Slightly caressing his man's soft black hair, "How about a lifetime?" "Are you up for it?" teasing asked Meng Anya. Pecking his baby's neck, even somewhat sucking it until he heard his lover's soft moans. "It will be my pleasure, baby," replied Mo Yijuan. Letting out a few soft moans, "Then, you're hired," said Meng Anya. They continued to cuddle until they got tired and fell asleep in the end. Morning. Within the room of the young master Meng, two figures closely entangled together in the bed were sleeping. The large one is embracing the small one to his body airtight and not even allowing light to pass through his body. It was as if he wanted to combine his body to the little figure in his arms. He caged him like a protective beast could get to his mate. As if holding on his world within his arms. The first one to open his eyes is Mo Yijuan. The moment his eyes opened, his silver eyes glinted with a bit of darkness as if wanting to blacken it completely, though it only appeared for a few seconds before it turned to its original tint of gray. Those silver irises were sharp and imposing as he revealed them, only when his eyes fell on the adorable figure within his embrace that his gaze softens. The small figure on his arms wrapped his slender white arms around his waist, not even letting go of his clothes. He is gripping it tightly from his back, seemingly afraid that he will leave. The young master's fluffy brown hair caressing his cheeks as he smells that familiar scent of sweetness with a hint of peppermint. The face before him isn't something he had seen before. Charming boldness with those alluring phoenix-shaped eyes made this little one unique. It can be said this young master with a hint of laziness is one seductive little incubus when he reveals those taunting scarlet eyes and playful nature. When his eyes laid on his figure in the bar, seeing him walk towards the lounge gracefully and sophisticated while scattering the aura of blithe, disdain, and proud nature. Mo Yijuan felt his ice-covered heart slowly melted, thumping erratically, out of his control. He felt thrilled for the first time in his life. Mo Yijuan knew that this little one is not easy to bully. When he heard from Yi Baiyu that the one who rented the private room is someone surnamed Meng, the first one to enter his mind is the youngest young master, Meng Lan, who is Yi Baiyu's little fling. He had seen that Meng Lan before. That one is no good. He has an innocent little face, but his inside was dark and ambitious. That one is a little sly fox and a scheming little bitch who parade himself as someone pure. He also had a glimpse of Meng Anya before in one of those night parties of big clans, and his first impression cannot only be summarized with the word worse. It was absolutely the worst. That Meng Anya is just a idiot who thinks that the world revolves around him. His stubborn and proud aura is like a child flaunting like an adult without knowing the outside world. He can see that President Meng had spoiled his son so much that he was even worse than the bastard child. Though seeing the Anya before him now, Mo Yijuan knows that his eyes were blinded by mist. In that bar at that moment when he saw Meng Anya walking seductively like a walking aphrodisiac, Mo Yijuan suddenly felt he was slapped hard on the face with reality. He knew then that Meng Anya played everyone well. Like a little demon manipulating them in the shadows while he watches the show on the sideline enjoying it. Meng Anya's hedonist Fa.Ade is nothing but a mask, to cover this alluring real him. If not for the bastard son crossing the line, that his baby had to reveal his true self to retaliates in a very bold manner, giving those fools the punishment he bestowed to them. But Mo Juan learned it too late and his baby had longed to make his move. After he watched that enchanting figure left his territory, he had everything about him investigated. When Yi Baiyu told him that someone wanted to borrow a room to have a little pleasure party, he hadn't thought much about it. After all, things like that were normal occasions in his territory, but he never would have expected that the group planned to gangbang someone, and their target is unexpectedly Meng Anya. He suddenly felt fear looming in his heart as if that would make him lose his mind if that really happened to his baby. Good thing his baby is quite a badass and gave them a taste of their own medicine, but he still thought that it wasn't enough and had those group of useless second-generation brats to be thrown to the underground brothel. Erasing their existence as humans, to be used as human cum dumpster. After giving out an appropriate ending for those trash, Mo Juan spends his time, thinking all day how he should approach his baby when a job fell on his territory from the Meng clan itself. The contents of the job are easy, and the reward is high. Many mercenaries and for hire wanted to take such an easy job. When he was about to let his other subordinates take it, he then saw the target of protection. It was the man that occupied his mind for every second of his life. The target is none other than the eldest young master of Meng clan. In his mind that seductive figure of Meng Anya formed, and he couldn't help but gulped his saliva as his desires and lust accrued in his body. Without letting everyone steal the job of protecting his baby from him, he took it on his own and went to the Meng clan for verification. After his job as bodyguard is finalized, he now has all rights to stand by his beloved side, loving him, caring for him, and protecting him for their whole lifetime. This little temptress had fallen in his grasp and he was not willing to let him escape at all. Giving his baby's forehead a kiss, he heard a knock outside. Knock. 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 After hearing the knocks, who spoke? Mo Juan. From outside the door the old butler's voice was heard, Sir Mo. You're awake. Please prepare the young master. Breakfast will be served in half an hour, respectively informed the one inside. After the bath, I'll bring him down for breakfast, replied Mo Juan. As the butler heard his answer, he took his leave. Understood. I'll pass Sir Mo's words to the master, the old butler said before returning to his duties. At first Mo Juan gently pry his little one's hands, gripping his clothes but unable to. After a few more tries only to fail and feel that he really couldn't remove his hand. Mo Juan could only sigh in defeat and decided to undress and let his baby hug his shirt in his sleep as he had no other choice. He was afraid of hurting those slender, white set of fingers. With his upper body bare, revealing his sexy 8-pack abs connected down to that hot mermaid lines of his, radiating a strong taste of male hormones. His presence is like that of Greek gods. He seems like a perfected being with everything good bestowed upon him. Like a walking calamity that can cause the ladies and men to fall under his feet, adding up that dangerous aura surrounding him with devilish charm. No one else could deny his attractiveness. His overbearing aura can equate him to a demon king. Charmingly dangerous and hot as hell. But this dangerous man's aura solitary softens when his eyes laid on the enchantress sleeping on the bed, which is now hugging his clothes so close to him. His lips upturned into a grin as he held that small hand, which tightly grips his shirt, to his giving it a kiss as he continued to let him sleep while preparing the bath. After a few minutes Mo Juan returned and took the dead asleep little devil and brought him to bathe. Catering all his needs, even shamelessly changing his clothes while looking at those traces, he left that night on that soft white skin of his baby, marking his possession without restraint. Though he hadn't fully eaten his baby, Mo Juan never forgot to leave a mark that signifies Anya as his. After that he continued to let him sleep while he took his own bath, not expecting for his little devil to suddenly wake up from his slumber as his little system returned. Host. EXE met his boss and said that the souls of Yu Wuya and Hei Yu were people under the supervision of the Nether system. Hei Yu is the same as host while Yu Wuya's identity is a bit confidential and EXE is unable to get the information about him. While your husband is. What about my husband? That, I don't think it's believable, but. My boss said that your husband's soul is an original resident of this world. Moreover, the souls of your husband from the other two worlds were the same and in the same situation as well. They were original residents of each world but they were only soul fragments. I was told that every time a host completes a world the soul fragments of your husband's soul combine and follow the host in every world strengthening his soul. The soul fragments were linked together. Ha! Are you trying to say that those souls of my husband I've met are the same one and each of them are fragments of one person's soul? So, what is my husband's real identity? H.Host, even my boss system's authority couldn't check on his origin. Your H.Husband's identity is really weird and unknown. I can only investigate this host. EXE is sorry. No. You did a good job, EXE. Thank you. Can you please take control on that stalking program I've made? You could have it if you wanted. Meng Anya can obviously notice that his system is trying his best to act as if his scripted lines were true. He didn't pursue it as the lack of information is too much for him to understand his current situation. Meng Anya decided to accept the scripted explanation at least for now. Meng Anya passed the stalking. Surveillance program to his system which he made in the bar that night. Seeing that the program was well made and totally secured, EXE enjoyed playing with it and even upgrading it to the blueprints and programming structure his boss gave him from the former worlds. Of course this diligent system didn't forget his duty of recording the daily lives of the other players of the world. Host, before I forgot. I've found something about your identity in this world. It seems that the memories I've given you before are incomplete. This world had already been resetted once, but it was forcefully done making few errors to appear. I'll pass the rest of the plot now. Original world plot, Meng Anya, the only son of President Meng. He is the world's rightfully heavenly son. The protagonist show. After the world was restarted forcefully once. Part of his setting was removed and altered without editing the world's setting, leaving few glitches and error. Meng Anya is this world heavenly-born genius who created his Starlight Company when he was 10 with the support of his parents and mother's clan. Since then he was considered as their country's hidden treasure. He is the brain of the current AI-controlled system, Galaxia, that controls the world. The people who knew his identity called him Odin, the god of virtual world. But a former world hopper destroyed the plot and was erased by the heavenly laws before he completed his task. The world was resetted and Meng Anya's setting, which was full of error, was replaced by Meng Lan as the protagonist show, falling on the role as a cannon fodder. Does the host want to correct the errors of this world? A special reward can be given ahead of time. Rewards. Unlocking 1 of host's original special ability. I accept this mission. As for the reward, I'll take it later. For now give me one of those special suits from System Mall. Take the expenses to my savings or a redeeming ticket if you must. Correct the error of this world setting. Special task in progress. Reward. 1. Special ability unlocked. The requested special suit host wanted doesn't require a redeeming ticket and the payment was taken from the host's savings. Host currently has 5 redeemed tickets. Please do your best. Meanwhile, after waiting for a few while Meng Anya saw his man coming out the bath wearing only a bathrobe with his strong pheromone excluding from his hot body captured Meng Anya's whole attention. His scarlet phoenix eyes were boldly staring at his man's charming body, showing his thoughts through it. I want to sleep with you. Meng Anya's eyes flashed with desire, but he still remained silent. Moe Juan saw his baby's crimson eyes goggling on his body like he wanted something and could only chuckle at his silly and cute actions. He grabbed the back of his head and exchanged a short but deep morning kiss, then kissing him on his forehead for last. With his lips slightly upturned into a smile, "Let me finish a few things. Then we'll come out together with your dad," said Mo Ijuan, who only received a pout from his baby. Childishly pouting, "Fine, I don't want to shock Dad. Let's wait for a few more months before we tell him. After all, I need a few things to be cleared before playing around," replied Meng Anya, who passed him new clothes, he prepared for him personally. It was a pure black suit. Once Mo Ijuan wore the suit, he instantly perceived that it's made of special material with high defensive capability. It looked simple at distance, but upon closer look, the materials used to create it, is made of unknown origin. The cloth was soft and comfortable to skin with an auto-adjustment temperature program. It will change into the hardest material which is impenetrable by anything, even bullets or laser guns. He then looked at his baby, who has a sly smirk painted on his face as he arranged his collar. He wanted to ask where he got it, but after noticing its heaven-defying advantages, he knew that the special material must be extremely scarce and kept his silence while observing his baby in front of him. Arranging his man's messy collar, "I only have too little of that material and can only make a full set and few inner shirts. I've also sent a pair of inner shirts of the same material to my aide and to your right-hand man later," said Meng Anya, who finished smoothing his man's clothes. With his arms hovering around his baby's thin waist, "Only a full set. You don't have your own set?" asked Mo Ijuan when he heard his lover's explanation. Through a smile on his face, Meng Anya explained, "Yes, only one. Your identity is dangerous and you'll be my bodyguard. There's not enough for another full set. I'm wearing an undershirt inside this gray suit. So, if someone wanted to cut my arms or legs, you must stop them for me. Unlike the full set on you, the undershirt cannot block heavy caliber bullets completely." So, Mo Ijuan cut him off at that moment. Unable to complete his words, his man pulled him to a kiss, even prying his lips open while deepening their kiss. Mo Ijuan chases after that small tongue, entangling with it while subtly sucking it at the same time. He explored his baby's little mouth, altering the direction while gently sweeping his palate and gums. Only until he heard his baby choke for a moment that he ended the kiss. Looking at his baby's teary eyes that he chuckles, his voice was hoarse and magnetic as if seducing Meng Anya's ears. Giving his baby's small, cute nose and reddish lips a kiss, "You're so adorable, baby," said Mo Ijuan, who is raining kisses on Meng Anya's face. Covering his man's face to stop his kisses on raining at his own, "Enough. I'm hungry," complained Meng Anya with his face reddening from embarrassment and joy. Meng Anya's thoughts speaking his system. "Exe, send a few things for me to that side. It's time to inform them of Odin's return and begin the repair for this world's error." "As you wish, host." Chapter 48. 3.7 Second Small Star, Breakfast. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Meng Mansion's dining area. President Meng was seated at the topmost chair of the long table. He had the highest authority within the family, which is why he sat at the position where everyone could see him. On his left side, Meng Lan took his seat together with the guests like Lin Xia, his darling son's aide, and Yi Baiyu, who came as a representative from Underworld City to inform him about the verification of his issued mission's acceptance. Meng Lan greeted Meng Huang, "Father, good morning." Take your seat. "Have your breakfast," replied Meng Huang, who focuses on the tablet at his hand instead of Meng Lan's greeting. Treating him coldly more so than before after learning of his evil plan. Lin Xia and Yi Baiyu greeted the old man as well. Lin Xia, "Pleasant morning, sir." Yi Baiyu, "Greetings President Meng." "Same to you too as well. Go ahead and sit. I've told old Lu to call Honor and Mr. Mo. As for the mission's verification, the decision will be made by my son, Anya," said Meng Huang, current president of Starlight. Waiting for a while, the butler returned and informed them that the eldest young master will be joining them for breakfast after taking a bath. Half an hour later. They finally saw the two figures they've been waiting for. Meng Anya is being carried by Moe Juan. Meng Anya was dressed formally in a dark gray suit. His usually proud and arrogant temperament was changed to something calm and upright. The atmosphere around him felt serene and mild, but they could feel the confidence in every of his gestures, which shows his elegant and noble upbringing. His phoenix-shaped eyes were alluring, with his irises having hints of garnet, excluding a feeling of mirth and disdain to everything that entered his line of sight. The corner of scarlet moist lips were slightly upturned into a mischievous smile, giving someone a ticklish feeling once seeing it. If one has sharper sight and intuition, they would be able to feel the hidden danger within those mischievous smiles of his. The man carrying him is a tall man with a dangerous aura. Wearing a pure black suit from head to toe, this man exuded a detached and warning feeling of a predator. With his short obsidian hair that matches his clothes and a sharp cold gaze coming from his silvery orbs made one flinch, feeling the imminent danger it possessed. Despite that, they couldn't help but feel that the dangerous aura coming from this man softens when Meng Anya looks at him. This man is Meng Anya's personal bodyguard, Moe Juan. In the dining area few people had already begun eating. Meng Huang had finished his breakfast ahead of them and is now having his coffee while looking at his works on his tablet. Meng Lan is in the middle of eating, seated beside him Lin Xia, who is silently having breakfast while ignoring the silly one who is stealing a glance at him, Yi Baiyu. The moment Moe Juan appeared with Meng Anya on his arms, others showed different reactions. Meng Huang's tablet fell on the table with a loud bang, adding up the sound of a spoon and fork falling on the plate from Yi Baiyu, who felt like he was stricken by lightning. Lin Xia just looked at the arrival of his lord with a knowing gaze before silently returning his eyes to his plate to eat. Beside him Meng Lan was rendered speechless by the scene of his elder brother being carried in the arms of that charming hot man with a dangerous aura. He couldn't recognize who he might be, but he knew that this person's aura is even stronger than the business emperor, Chao Junzi. Even he for a moment was charmed by that king-like figure. Seeing Meng Lan's love-struck gaze, Meng Anya's eyes squinted perilously, with those scarlet eyes glinting with madness which made the four flinch. They've moved their eyes to look at his target only to see Meng Lan's love-struck gaze flinched and change immediately. The hand of Meng Lan that was holding the fork couldn't help but shake when he received his elder brother's cold gaze. Moe Juan, who noticed his baby's change of expressions, could only smile as he suggestively caressed his back to return back his baby's attention to him. Only after he felt that gentle hand on his back that Meng Anya's smile returned, and smiled at his man before looking at his stunned dad. Giving his dad a sweet smile while Moe Juan put him on his chair before taking a seat beside him. "Good morning, Dad," Meng Anya greeted. With a slight astonishment on his eyes, Meng Huang said, "Ah. Good morning, my son. You and Mr. Mo." Meng Anya said to his lover, "Feed me." Moe Juan could only sit beside his baby, overstepping his duties as a bodyguard. Naturally placing food on his baby's plate. "Please call me Juan, uncle," Moe Juan said. Accepting their intimate actions without blinking in confusion. "Ah. Okay. Juan, accompany my son to the company." My son will attend the morning meeting on daddy's behalf." "Okay," said Meng Huang while observing the two who acted dearly close before him with a muddled expression on his old face. Meng Anya, who was being fed by Moe Juan, nodded at his dad in agreement. "We'll go together, Dad. I've already had them informed ahead of time. Necessary things have been prepared." "Xia, I'll leave the rest to you," replied Meng Anya. "Lin Xia, as you wish, my lord." "Good. You can decide as you wish. Your authority will be the same as mine as the chairman. Will be the CEO starting today," Meng Huang announced. This announcement of his shocked his other son and stood up in surprise. "Father," Meng Lan called as his voice was filled with disbelief. But Meng Huang just gave him a serious gaze. "What is it, Lan? Do you not agree with this old man's decision?" He rebuked this illegitimate son. Seeing his father's anger, Meng Lan had paused his words for a moment before explaining his worries. But father, I don't think. Will the board members accept this? After all, brother is undergraduate, said Meng Lan. Acting as if he heard a joke, the eldest young master spoke. Are you sure about that? Said Meng Anya. Looking at his brother with disguised anger and disdain, trying to hide his envy and jealousy from their father's attention on Meng Anya. He thought he masked his real feelings, but his eyes failed him in the end. What do you mean, brother? Asked Meng Lan as his eyes were full of disgust. Those scarlet eyes were full of mirth as he looked at Meng Lan before he spoke. Just attend the morning meeting. You will understand what this big brother meant after that. By the way, Ai and Xia will attend the meeting with me. You cannot not disagree as I'm the CEO of Starlight. You understand, right? My dear little brother, said Meng Anya while smiling playful at Meng Lan. His voice was filled with laughter and a teasing tone. But seeing his entertained smile, Meng Lan can only feel his blood going cold before falling seated back to his chair as he unconsciously felt fear seeing such a stunning smile on his devil-like elder brother. Astonished, yes, brother, replied Meng Lan. Good, that you know. Meng Anya ignored everyone's gaze as he continued to feed his man after he was fed full by him. Not far from them Yi Baiyu can hear himself swallowing his saliva while in the middle of a tense atmosphere. His eyes wandered to his big boss and to the little devil incubus who is feeding him with a gentle smile on his face. While trembling when he saw a smile in the corner of his demon king boss's lips. In his mind is chaos, Yi Baiyu's thoughts, who the hell is this person using my big boss body? Smiling, that demon king feared by the whole underworld is smiling. Fuck. Am I dreaming right now? Xia, you can go ahead with Meng Lan. You could bring that thing by your side with you if you wanted. Ai said I can borrow him. He will work with you. You can handle him yourself. Meng Anya said to his aide. Lin Xia, who received his orders, agreed with a smiling face as he was in a very good mood knowing that he will have Yi Baiyu as his slave starting today. Of course. With his lord and his lord's other halves, Moe Juan, permission, he knew that Yi Baiyu would be under his orders in authority, seeing that the big boss is fondly spoiling his lord. As you wish, my lord. Replied Lin Xia with a bright smile on his face. Seeing such a bright smile on Lin Xia's face, Yi Baiyu, who already knew how he would end up while under his care, could only look to his boss for help. Only for Moe Juan to look at him for a moment, ignoring his pleads as he averted his eyes like he didn't see him at all. Yi Baiyu can only cry in his heart when he saw his big boss ignoring his presence, while Execution, who saw the whole thing, could only light some candles for Yi Baiyu as he is again, the one who has the lowest authority among the group. He has the lowest authority among the four, as always, with my host being the highest. Poor human. Meng Lan, who was told to go to the company ahead of time with Lin Xia and slave Yi Baiyu, can only leave after finishing their breakfast, leaving the rest to continue their breakfast. At the same time, they left. Meng Anya finished feeding his husband his meal and prepared to take a half-hour break before leaving. Knowing the reason that his darling son stayed after sending the other away, Meng Huang knew that he had something to say to him. Waiting for his son to speak, my son, tell daddy what your plan is. Meng Huang asked. I will clean up the company. Remove the partnership with Moonlight by the end of the 3rd month. I will handle the company until I find a successor. My son, do you not wish to run Starlight anymore? I created Starlight at age of 10 using dad's name and gave it away at 15 when mom died. This is to complete my promise to her, living a normal life as a dandy young master. Dad should know how innately lazy I am. When I made this toy, Starlight, and got bored with it when it grew out too much, I had no plans on taking back the reins. Only until someone tried to steal it that I've decided to step forward, even stopping the normal life I've promised mom. The things I've made, none of it was controlled by me personally. I've given the reins to those who wanted it in exchange for their loyalty. Even the Galaxia system I've left to the government to control, doesn't mean it isn't mine. If I wanted to destroy it I could do so if the country betrayed me. I may be extremely lazy, hate boredom the most, but no one is allowed to take what is mine no matter what it is. A/N. The Galaxia system Meng Anya is talking about here, is a program with a system structure that controls all information in this world. This modern world had a half-futuristic setting. Just a few steps need to evolve to a futuristic one. The original Meng Anya was supposed to be the pioneer to level up his world because of the former world hopper who destroy his setting that the world upgrade was halted and forcefully restarted leaving errors of Meng Anya's setting, which is why according to the plot Meng Anya was not really jailed but instead sold by the government to foreign country in exchange of Galaxia's full authority. How about Meng Lan? What do you plan to do with him? Asked Meng Huang. I will give him 3 chances. Even if his blood is not the same as mine, he is still a Meng. If he continues to court death then I'll give him his punishment. Oh, there are only 2 chances left, he used a chance yesterday. Hearing his darling son's words, Meng Huang knew that his darling son decided to stop the normal life his wife wanted him to have. He wanted to let his son continue living a normal life as a young master, but holding Chao Junzi's ambitions were enough to tire his means. Adding up Meng Lan targeting Meng Anya, he couldn't blame his darling son deciding to stop playing around to clean up the mess he couldn't. He wasn't a worldly genius like his son, he is only an average and normal human being. His son's intelligence never came from him anyway. His darling son got it from his dear wife. The only thing Anya got from him is his playful and childish nature. Even with his son's intelligence, the world was still able to take his wife from them. He couldn't help but sometimes wonder whether the world itself took his wife back because his son was born, to balance the world. Sigh, do as you wish. Just don't forget to inform your Uncle Shui so he could help you, said Meng Huang. Of course. I've sent Lin Xia with Lan because I want him to inform Big Uncle. Dad, you can take a rest now. Leave everything to me, said Meng Anya, grinning at his father who sighed once again thinking of how the future may change a lot with his darling son taking the stage once again. Chapter 49. 3.8 Second Small Star, Starlight CEO. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 49. 3.8 Second Small Star, Starlight CEO. Starlight Company's conference room. Starlight Corporation. Half an hour before the morning meeting. Upon their group's arrival, Meng Lan was shocked to see few VIPs, big-shot shareholders that usually only attend the meeting using video conference to be there to attend a morning meeting. These group of old men were the core of Starlight. Their identity is even more profound than Moonlight CEO, Chao Junzi, the business emperor of this time. They held power only second to the chairman, Meng Huang, and they were all from his father's generation. At the forefront is the head of this group, Shui Ling, a cold-looking handsome man in his 30s. He is even a few years older than his father and he is Meng Anya's big uncle as he is Anya's mother's older brother. He shares the same crimson eyes of Meng Anya though more of the darker shade. This is Shui clan's lineage perks. This uncle never attends company meetings himself and even leaves the video conference attendance to his secretary when he, Meng Lan, leads a meeting and unexpectedly he is here. Meng Lan came forward to give his greetings. With a smile on his face, Meng Lan greeted respectfully, Uncle Shui. Meng Lan greets. Shui Ling's sharp and cold eyes landed on Meng Lan, but the latter hid his fear though the stiffness of his body cannot be hidden. Giving the young man a glance, Shui Ling just gestured with his eyes that he accepted his greeting without a sound before closing his eyes for a moment while waiting for someone else's arrival. Seeing that the latter only gestured with his eyes, Meng Lan felt like air slapped him straight to his face and felt anger towards the old man but kept everything under his gentle fa. Big Uncle Shui ignoring Meng Lan is normal but this time it might be unintentional for the former to not even accept Meng Lan's greeting. His stiff movements were not superficial, and it shows that he was quite tense as well. Leaving a dumbstruck COO, the older man remained silent, still waiting. Beside him the other elder generation shareholders, who were present unexpectedly today, had all their eyes on the door. As if they were expecting a king to arrive. The younger generations watched this group of old men surrounded with a tense atmosphere, leaving them bewildered. Even the business emperor was ignored when he arrived, even before Meng Lan. Meng Lan sat in his designated area, so it just so happens that he sits next to the business emperor, Chao Junzi, who is Moonlight Company's CEO. The center of the table was left empty for the chairman of Starlight Corporation, which is the highest authority within the company. The moment Meng Lan took his seat, he received the message through Chao Junzi's eyes to meet him after the meeting. These two had long progressed their plans when they first met a few years ago, even before Chao Junzi became Moonlight's CEO. They were schoolmates and childhood friends, even close to becoming lovers. After waiting for another half an hour, the doors to the room opened with Lin Xia and Yi Baiyu in lead. Opening the doors to their masters. With playful upturned lips, Meng Anya in lead, wearing an unusual formal charcoal gray suit, walked towards the center table. He gallantly walked while excluding a proud and alluring aura, as if welcoming a little devil from his long vacation. Following behind him is a charmingly dangerous-looking handsome man in black suit. With a deadpan face and cold expression, they watch black suit wearing man follow that alluring small figure like an indulgent demon king to his beloved. Everyone's eyes fell on the pair unconditionally. The older generation had reacted servile, like they were used to giving the little one an extremely respectful bow. With Xueling in lead, who now had a smile on that stiff face, he looked at the little one in the lead with eyes full of adoration for his children. Ecstatically smiling, "I'm back," Meng Anya proudly announced his arrival. The group under Xueling's supervision all stood up and slightly bowed in reverence. Greeting all together. "Welcome back, young lord," leaving the younger generation speechless by the scene. Accepting their greetings, Meng Anya bowed back to these groups of old men. "Grandpa's uncle's big uncle. You really don't need to lower your backs. Please don't do it next time. Sending your successors would be enough for this kind of meeting. For important ones you shall be informed," said Meng Anya. Hearing his words made the older generation joyful as smiles surfaced on their old faces. "No, it's an honor to be at your service, young lord. This old man's old bone can still be at use at your orders. This old thing is always at your service, my lord. Ai, these old men. Can't you just take your rest and enjoy the luxury your descendants will earn for you? Go home. Go home." Meng Anya said, but the smile on the old men just widens with some of them chuckling. "Shaoan," called Xueling. "Yes, big uncle," replied Meng Anya with a smile. While his uncle looked at him, then frowned a bit to look at Moe Juan, who sat beside him. After returning to stare at his little nephew with questioning eyes. Seeing his uncle's weird expression, Anya knew that he must have recognized who his man is. "Would big uncle and elders like to join me for tea after the meeting?" asked Anya with a sly smile on his exquisite face. Seeing that his nephew understood his intention, he knew that the little one agreed to have a private talk with him after the meeting. Xueling graciously left the reins for the young CEO to take the lead. "Good. Continue the meeting," replied Xueling. The meeting continues. This time Meng Anya's attention was all at the attendees of the meeting, including the younger generation who is currently holding their tongues, afraid of offending the young man who sat at the highest seat. Among them only two want to speak out, but Meng Lan, because of his current position, stands on Starlight's side, holds himself back, while Chao Junzi fell in dazed when he saw Meng Anya after He Anjing took over. He felt mesmerized by Meng Anya's confidence and proud personality. He is totally full of haughtiness, as if he is the top of the world, but this proud streak is unlike what he showed before. His aura this time is irresistible, and adding his elegant but flirtatious aura, he seems like a little devil with irrefutable authority. Chao Junzi couldn't detach his eyes on him. A seductive beauty and fulsome presence. That's the two things Junzi desires for an ideal lover. Moe Juan noticed that Junzi's love-struck eyes, and knowing that the target is his baby, his aura turned dark and murderous. Feeling the dangerous aura around Yijuan, of course everyone couldn't help but flinch and feel cold in unconscious fear. Only Xue Ling, who knew his identity, showed an even deeper frown on face as he looked at him while worrying at his little nephew seated beside that dangerous man, but Meng Anya is turning a blind eye to his man's vinegar jar. Chao Junzi, who is the main target of his glare, was brought back to reality and just smiled as he averted his gaze. But his actions only mean that the place is not good, so I will step back for now. Making Mo Yijuan's face even uglier. Only when that somewhat cold hand holds his hand, even intertwining their 10 fingers, that he moves his head to look at his baby who is giving him a sweet smile, that he calmed down. Playing with his baby's hand under the table, Yijuan's anger subsides. The tension in the area disappeared after that. While others just took a breath of relief, those who knew why Yijuan took back his overbearing aura looked at the smiling Anya and the Yijuan, who now have lowered his head, focusing on their clasped hands with a deadpan face. Others tried their best not to look under the table to ease their curiosity as to why that dangerous man suddenly calmed down. The smart ones even took a photo or short recording with their phones secretly to see what's happening under the table. Among them only Xue Ling, seated directly beside his nephew, can see everything that happened with his own eyes, leaving a stunned expression on his face. Ignoring his uncle's dazed eyes, well then let's continue the meeting. Some of you might know who I am, so I'll keep the introduction short. I'm Meng Anya, your current CEO and company chairman of Starlight. Which means that if my father, Meng Huang, isn't around, I have the highest authority in Starlight. Said Meng Anya with a bright smile on his face. Leaving the young generation dumbfounded by his introduction, but when they looked at the older generation with expressions that say that everything Meng Anya says is right, that the younger generation couldn't help but hold their tongue back. The room got a bit noisy after his introduction, with others glancing at Meng Anya and Meng Lan, respectively. Making Meng Lan uncomfortable when even Chao Junzi took a glance at him. Meng Lan could feel that they wanted him to step forward and explain things for them. Oh, I know you have some problems knowing that this second-generation ancestor is taking the position as CEO. Let's continue the meeting. No, my introduction meeting. My secretary, Lin Xia, will do the honor. Meng Anya said as he sat back to his seat, ignoring all others, entertaining his sticky lover seated beside him. While the older generation only had their eyes on that intimate pair at the center end of the table, all eyes of the younger generation are at the projection Lin Xia is providing them. Lin Xia is currently introducing Meng Anya's hidden background. This is the part of the original setting that was buried when the world was first restarted. Everything is about Meng Anya's original setting. Him being tested for having an immeasurable IQ as well as a full-fledged graduate of a globally renowned university aboard at the age of 8, with him being the founder of Starlight Corporation at the age of 10 and stepping down at the age of 15 under the older generation and his mother's attempts to let him have a normal life. Leaving everyone, especially Meng Lan, in disbelief, while leaving Chao Junzi and Yi Baiyu were especially speechless. After a few minutes Lin Xia had finished his report, everyone's eyes moved towards that playful young CEO Meng Anya at the center end of the table. Looking at him like he is some kind of monster. Silence engulfing the whole room. Noticing the silence and the stares befallen at him, Meng Anya finally temporarily moved his eyes from his lover to the people inside the room. But he only glanced at them once before resuming his gaze at his man. Finish. Good. Then let's end the morning meeting for today. After a week, I'll do a little clean-up. So, do what you must do. As long as I don't catch any tails, you'll be safe, right? Meeting adjourned. Meng Anya announced while not even looking at any of them for the second time. He only gestured to them to leave. After a second of hesitation, the younger generation all took off as if they were being chased. The moment they heard Meng Anya say about the clean up, everyone knew what he meant. They wanted to clear loose ends to avoid being punished before the weekend comes. Only a few older generations stayed over like Xue Ling, most of them were elders of Xue clan and Meng Anya's elders. Even Chao Junzi left the room after giving a meaningful glance at the intimate pair at the center end of the table before walking out without looking back. Meng Lan on the other hand had an ugly expression on his face which deepened when he saw his elder brother's mocking smile when he took a glance at him. He knew what that mocking smile meant, it was a warning. For him not to push further his plans to steal something not his. Gritting his teeth in anger and jealousy, Meng Lan could only leave in huge strides, leaving the room in a hurry. The moment the meeting room was left with only a few elders, the pair and their subordinates, a cloudy aura befallen inside the room. All the elders were looking at Meng Anya and the man beside him. Especially Xue Ling, who is giving Moe Juan a glare fearlessly, but the latter just ignores it. Looking at his little nephew with his eyes filled with worry and fear of him getting hurt, our dear Shaoan. Do you know the identity of that man beside you? Asked Xue Ling. Moe Juan. The Lord of Underworld City. Unhesitatingly answered Meng Anya, while his answer startled Lin Xia and the other elders inside the room, causing a short commotion in the meeting room. Lin Xia even looked at Yi Baiyu seated beside him in disbelief, while the latter only flashed him a silly smile. Obviously his stupid expression makes Lin Xia wants to beat him up. Though he had longed to know that Yi Baiyu isn't the lord of the underworld, he didn't expect for the dangerous-looking man who posted himself as an ordinary bodyguard of his young lord to end up being the real lord of the underworld. Even he is not blind enough to not see that man's obsession towards his young lord. Calming down his people. Silence, ordered Xue Ling to the other old men beside him. What's your relationship with him? Asked Xue Ling as he glanced at Moe Juan, who was ignoring the chaos inside the room, focusing his attention on the hands of beloved and gently kneading it in massage. With an innocent expression on his face, currently my bodyguard. Hired for a lifetime. Answered Meng Anya without any reluctance on his words. Hearing his baby's answer, a smile surfaced on that cold and dangerous man's face. Lifting that slender white hand, giving the back of his hand a kiss. His silvery irises were filled with tenderness and love. Such action of his startled everyone inside the room except for his baby, who flashed him a proud smirk like his actions are normal usual things. Stuttering with widened eyes in shock, why you? That, are you too? Asked Xue Ling. If Big Uncle is worrying about him hurting me, then, with my life online I can bet IE would never be able to do that. Replied Meng Anya. Moe Juan's smile widened when he heard how much his baby trusted him with his life. Even pulling Meng Anya into a hug. The elders inside the room were rendered speechless, but he is, the Lord of Underworld. An elder reasoned out. While looking at any of them, Moe Juan spoke, I can step down on being a lord anytime. Moreover, Underworld City is a legal enterprise. You can ask my father, Prime Minister Mo, for further questions. Said Moe Juan while hugging his beloved, ignoring the weird stares of the elders inside the room. You are the minister's son. Would your exalted father even agree with your relationship with our Shaoan? Asked Xue Ling with creases on his forehead upon hearing such shocking knowledge about the latter's background. If I told him I'm willing to follow a few of his orders without complaining, that old man would agree. Moreover, he has so many illegitimate sons who can take his place. He never needs me to spread his descendants. That old man will never care. Replied Moe Juan without hesitation about his father's black secrets. If he doesn't agree, then I can make sure he can never call himself the Prime Minister, if he doesn't give Juan to me. Outspoken Meng Anya with seriousness and dangerous glint within those scarlet eyes, rendering everyone silent and fearful. While in everyone's thoughts, this child is not kidding at all. Damn. Making me remember of the past when someone wanted to take his mother from his father. Didn't that Prime Minister Mo, Xue Meiyue's little admirer from before? This brat's possessiveness never changed at all. After a moment of speechlessness, Moe Juan looked at his pouting little one on his arms, suddenly heartfully laughing at his cuteness and possessive nature. Seeing that the possessiveness he felt for the little one is not one-sided, that made him extremely happy. immediately hugging the one in his arms tighter. No worries. I'm yours exclusively, baby, said Mo Juan while chuckling in the end. Ha! Of course, you are mine. You said that already last night, replied Meng Anya like it's a matter of fact. Seeing the live flirting interaction between the pair, Xue Ling could only sigh in defeat. Just seeing how the two children before him acted, he can see with his eyes that their feelings for each other were real and unbiased. Both have possessive nature and outsiders can only watch and not do anything to separate them. Trying to separate the two will only end up in endless chaos and hell. Seeing that both have presence that can lead wherever they were thrown to and that boundless confidence as an individual, one can say that this pair is the most powerful pair that can exist in the world. With one of them being an overlord of an underground city and one being a lazy tyrant who no one could control. Sai, how about your father, does he know? Asked Xue Ling with no other choice but to accept the relationship between the two. Smiling, no, but it was Dad who hired IE to become my bodyguard. I even indirectly informed him about IE's identity, but he didn't take the bait, so Dad doesn't know who IE is. But seeing our interaction, Dad must already have a few guesses about it, replied Meng Anya with a playful smile on his face. When Xue Ling and the elders saw his spirited smile, they knew that he wasn't kidding, that the doting father didn't know their relationship nor the identity of the man he hired for his darling son. Thinking of how that old man will act, Xue Ling could only sigh in picturing how that spoiled old man will act and his darling son was stolen from him. It will be endless chaos and weeping. Shaoan, how much do you think that old child will cry when he hears about this? Asked Xue Ling, as he seems to be talking about Meng Anya's father. With a sparkling smile on his face, I'll leave Dad for Uncle to handle. By the way, Uncle and elders, I have something interesting here with me. Are you interested? Said Meng Anya with a huge grin on his face. Seeing his upturned lips, the elders in the room could only sigh collectively. Thinking that this child will cause chaos in the market once again with those weirdly interesting ideas of his.